What's up, YouTube? It's Eric, a Lions fan. Thanks for clicking on this video. As you guys can tell, I have the other sixth-round pick of the Detroit Lions here. I have Ty Johnson from Maryland. Comes from Big Ten country. He comes in at 5'10", at 208. As you guys can tell, he didn't go to the Combine. I don't know if he was even invited to the Combine. I don't necessarily know that. But based on what I've seen on here, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Theo Riddick. And based on kind of what I've read from, at least on the NFL Combine, did a little bit of reading before I started the video here. It kind of sounds like he might be in that fit of that Theo Riddick type of back for the Detroit Lions. I kind of put Theo Riddick as kind of the X factor for Detroit. He seems to have good hands based on what I've seen. He has speed. He has quite a bit of speed, and we'll get into that here in just a minute. Just a all-around good football player. Looks like he might be on special teams. He looks like he's pretty good on special teams here as well. Another really good pick from the Detroit Lions. It's just whether he's going to stick or not. That's the question here. But we're going in here, guys. They grade him at 4.99, which he should be in the NFL training camp. He could probably even compete for a starting a spot on the 53-man active roster. At least I think so, kind of based what I've seen on here. But again, I'm just kind of a couch coach here, not an actual coach of the Detroit Lions. But kind of based on what I've seen, I kind of like what I see from him. So I went back and I looked at two games. I basically just looked up here on YouTube. I looked at the game he did. My goodness, that's a loud truck that just went by. I looked at his games when they played against Texas, and I looked at when they played against Minnesota, and I'm kind of impressed at kind of what I've seen here. Some of the notes that I kind of took off here is, like I said, he kind of reminds me a little bit of Theo Riddick. He had a nice touchdown run against Minnesota, and he kind of had a couple of nice kind of runs against Texas here too. Kind of when he caught the ball, the Texas defense kind of seemed a little bit swarming though, where you really couldn't get kind of anything going there. It's kind of a thumbs up to the Texas defense there. And we all know how Texas was. They kind of were at the cusp right there. They kind of weren't a great team, but they necessarily weren't a bad team in 2008 here either. And in 2017, I didn't get to see this one, and there was no draft highlights of this one or any kind of game film either. In 2017, he had a 100-yard touchdown return run against Ohio State. So he can do good things. He has flashes here. It's just whether or not he's going to stick around here. So, I mean, based on kind of what I've seen, I like what I see, but it's going to be up to the Lions coaching staff to whether if he's going to be on the practice squad, whether he's going to be on the 53-man active roster, if they're going to kind of shake his hand and say, thanks, but there's kind of nowhere here on the team for you. I honestly don't know, but based on what I see, I kind of like from what I've seen from Ty Johnson. I live in Big Ten country, but I'm not a Maryland fan, so by any stretch of the imagination, I cannot. Maybe someone from that actually has seen Maryland games could probably be a better judgment of kind of what Ty Johnson can do for the Lions, but kind of based on my 30 minutes kind of watching game film, I mean, he looks like he could be an NFL. He could be on a 53-man NFL roster. Maybe not for the Detroit Lions, but he could be a fit in for somebody else here, guys. But let's get down to the strengths and weaknesses, and we'll go to there. All right, guys, we're here at the overview, and I kind of wanted to focus here. I usually don't focus on the overview, but I kind of wanted to read kind of what's right up in here, and I'm just going to read it verbatim, right as I'm reading it right here, and I'll put the links to kind of what I've seen here down in the description here, so you guys can click on the links and kind of gauge for yourself, if you guys want to, how good or how maybe Ty Johnson needs experience. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. It says Johnson is a slightly undersized as an every down back, and he might not have the skill set to be a third down option. He is a natural runner who consistently finds enough chunk yards to post impressive yards per carry totals, but his inability to run with power or to help third downs could limit his chances on sticking with the team. And that's kind of how I view kind of Theo Riddick here. Now, that's not saying anything bad about Theo Riddick. That's kind of just basically what they have here for the overview is basically how I think about Theo Riddick. I think Ty Johnson could be a younger Theo Riddick. He has the hands to catch the football based on what I've seen, so that shouldn't be a factor at all. It's just kind of having that X factor there where kind of teams don't know if he's going to run the ball, if he's going to come out and be a receiver. He could probably line up in the slot also as well, maybe in certain situations where he could catch the ball because the man has hands. I don't mean to be a broken record, but based on what I've seen, the man has some pretty good hands. So I kind of want to go through the strengths here real quick. And the biggest thing out of all the strengths here, guys, is this one, the last bullet point here, where he says he has the burst to race to the edge as an outside runner. Now, if you guys go to the Minnesota game to where he handed the ball off, I mean, 3 steps and he was at full speed. He kind of just barely touched the linebacker, or I guess it was kind of more or less a safety, kind of hit his helmet, kind of jumped up a little bit, and he was still in full stride. Boom, he was gone for the touchdown. So that is a good point to go on here, because basically what you see on that last point, and if you reference the Minnesota game, it's exactly that. And the weaknesses here are, and I'm going to focus on the second bullet point here, where it says he looks like he's always seeking an opportunity to break runs wide. Well, if you watch Maryland's kind of their offensive, how they do their offense, that's kind of how it's designed there, where he kind of gives the ball and kind of always goes outside. He never sees a lane to really cut back into. So that I'm not necessarily in agreement with, because of the style of offense they played at Maryland. And the third bullet point, third to last bullet point here, where it says he wasn't much of a pass catching or a third down factor at Maryland, but if he's going to be that kind of, again, not being a broken record here, Theo Riddick style of back, which I kind of think he is very similar to, I think that the Lions coaching staff can actually get his hands to be much even better than what they are already, and can be that third down factor for the Lions. And on the last bullet point here, where it says he doesn't have the power to push the pile or handle short yardage or goal line duties, I pretty much think that he wasn't really put in those situations to do that. Now, that's only based on the 2 games that I've seen, and they really didn't have, for the offense kind of that I've seen, they didn't really have that 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2 type of back where he was in there to see if he could actually go ahead and push the pile. Now, maybe there was other games, maybe against Michigan State, maybe against Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, those type of games. I honestly don't know if they played Iowa or not, or even any of those teams. But you never did see, at least on the 2 for Texas and Minnesota, you never really got to see those short yardage situations where Ty Johnson was put in those situations to see if he could even do that. But my overall thoughts for Ty Johnson here, we're all the way back up here to the top, is I think that he can stick around with the Lions. If not, he's probably going to be able to stick around with some team that kind of needs his skill set. I think his skill set is good. I think the 4.99 kind of, I'll just put it out there, the 5 range is probably good. I mean, I'm no NFL scout or anything like that, or try to even be an NFL scout, but kind of based on what I've seen, based on the 2 games, I think that Ty Johnson is probably going to end up being a special teams player, if I'm being honest, and maybe a certain type of situation back to where they kind of need maybe an extra receiver in there to try to get him some ball touches and to have him do what he does with his feet. Like I said, I like his hands. I kind of like his burst of speed there. I've seen it there in the Minnesota game. You're going to actually see it if you kind of get into the game film. He just bursts one out. And if you kind of see his 2017 100-yard run against Ohio State, the man has speed. It's just he's got to get his horses together and just go as hard as he can for the 100 yards, and boom, he can actually fly. I can say that pretty much. I do like the pick here. It's just a matter of, are the Lions going to be able to have this type of player? I think they can, if they're going to continue to use Theo Riddick in the role that he's used in. I think Ty Johnson can probably plug right back in there and probably not do just as well, if not better, than Theo Riddick. And that's kind of saying something here, guys. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Do you agree? Do you disagree with me? Go ahead and put it down in the comments. Please consider hitting that subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell notification so you guys get more videos just like this one. All right, guys, on to the next one. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope to see you guys again soon. Take care, guys.